Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by a very special guest. I am joined by Brock women's hockey player Rebekah Feld. Rebekah, welcome back to the podcast, and how's everything going?
Oh, it's great, thank you. Just coming off of a great season, I guess, so can't complain at all.
Well, it's so wonderful to have you back on, and my first question to you is how good did it feel to kind of return back to the ice and get some games in after not having that experience last year?
Oh, it felt amazing. It was really hard going through not being able to play the sport that I've played since I was 5 years old. So it just felt it was a different sense of gratefulness, I think, that we brought into this year, especially myself compared to last year.
Yeah, and was there any period of trying to get rid of rust for yourself once you started playing games? And when did you when did you start, I guess, feeling like yourself again back on the ice? I'm just curious about that because this is something that most players haven't really experienced before, besides like injury reasons, obviously.
Yeah, there definitely was. And especially actually, this is funny for me. I ended up playing forward this year. My coach asked me to step up and try this new position because we had a lot of D due to scouting and COVID people coming back kind of thing. So I ended up playing forward. There's for sure a period of rust, even just getting back in your skates and everything like that. But I think just getting to practice and focusing on doing the little things and knowing that it'll add up to like everything else was the good part of that.
Yeah, and talk about like playing forward. What was like the biggest adjustment you had to make to that position, and how much did you enjoy playing a new position this year?
Yeah, so it was a big adjustment just because I think on defense you get used to sitting back and watching the forwards do their thing. So being able to start visualizing myself getting to the net, I think that was my biggest struggle at first, was that I just didn't have that goal scoring mindset all the time like forwards usually do. So that was a huge adjustment, but I think once I started to accept that it was new and it's going to take some time, that's when I started seeing more results and being able to focus on use my strengths as well as keep it simple. I guess that's kind of my sense of play anyways. Don't overcomplicate things that don't have to be complicated.
Now, you also had a pause during your season as well. How did you handle that, and how did you try to build like a consistency and rhythm when something unexpected like that happens in the middle of the season? And what was like the key to building like a rhythm of trying to win games and like building consistency? Because that's a huge part of a regular season and a hockey season is trying to continue to build up that. Just because I feel like when that's taken away from you, it makes it harder, I guess, to kind of build chemistry with your teammates and also build that confidence as well.
100%. And I would say it was really difficult at first because I think the general consensus across the team was we were having flashbacks the year before when they said, oh, we're going to pause for half a year and then hopefully we'll have a season, which we never ended up having a season. So I think a lot of us had this really scared mindset that we wouldn't have the rest of the season, but just being able to bounce off of each other, positivity, do everything we can in the gym to improve ourselves, whether that's whatever we can do. Stick handling, things like that. We had a great group this year, so there wasn't really any complaints. I think everyone was on board, and we were just focusing on that first game back and wanting to come in with a bang.
Yeah, how'd you like handle like I guess the unknown of what could happen after that happened? Because I don't think anyone really expected a second wave of COVID to kind of take over the way it did this past winter, and it's still kind of looming a little bit right now, obviously.
100%. It was really difficult, to be honest. I think leaning on the people that are closest to you is the best thing you can do. So I live with 3 other teammates. So just being able to, okay, let's have a movie night. Let's do things that we can do to support each other. And we also had sports psych meetings. We have a team sports psychologist. So a big focus of what we learned was just trying to focus on what we can control and allow everything else that we can't control to happen and being able to adjust to that. So I think that was a huge lesson I learned, is just sometimes you can't control things and sometimes you just have to focus on yourself and what you can do best. So.
Yeah, I feel like that's difficult for me. That's the biggest thing I've had to learn throughout the pandemic is controlling the things that I can control and trying to not worry about the things I can't control. But I feel like it's so difficult for someone like myself who's kind of a control freak and wants
Yeah.
to like kind of control everything I can. So I don't know if you're that way, but that's like the biggest struggle I've had so far throughout this whole thing.
100%.
Now, how was academics for you this year? Did you get to be back in person for classes, and what was that balance like? I feel like that's another adjustment, not having to have to do that last year as well.
That's an awesome question because I totally did not see this coming. We were probably half and half. I think actually first semester I was all in person. Second semester I'm a bit of both. But that was a big thing that I didn't expect. I forgot how demanding balancing sport in school was, and for the first little bit, I for sure was struggling, and I think a lot of people were going through the same thing. And once I finally expressed how I was feeling and realized that a lot of my teammates and everyone were really feeling the same, that really helped just to know that I wasn't alone. At the end of the day, we get through it. And I know that because I did it in my first 2 years, I could do it again. And I'm in a lot better place now. I was still doing fine in school. It was just trying to balance it all and be able to take a breather every once in a while. It was difficult to make that adjustment, but I definitely respect it more now that I'm on the other side of, that adjustment period.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, your team was kind of brand new a little bit. A lot of your teammates were first year players. So, what for yourself, having a year of college hockey under your belt, how did you try to help those new players adjust to college hockey? And how would you, I guess, like, what did you like the most about the additions that they brought to the team?
Oh, we had an awesome group. I think a huge part of our recruitment nowadays is on attitude rather than purely skill. They have to check all the boxes, including that kind of thing. So everyone was so awesome, and I have no complaints on anyone's demeanor or anything like that. But they brought a lot of hard work, and I think that's what really pushed us to where we were. Because sometimes you have the skill, but you don't have the heart. So that was kind of the change that happened this year, which was awesome. Helping them adjust. I think I told a lot of them, don't expect to be your best until December, maybe at the earliest, especially because coming in, I remember my first year, the first little bit, I felt lost. I didn't feel great. And I think the best thing to help you and the hardest thing to get is confidence. So that's kind of what brings you into the second half of the season as a first year going into that. I think that's the biggest thing. So I really just told them, I kind of just went on a ramble, but the biggest thing is just I told them just wait it out, keep working hard and eventually you will see results, but you have to build that confidence before you're going to be that huge playmaker or feel really comfortable in your position.
Yeah, last time we had you on the pod, we kind of talked about like how you built up your confidence for your first year. How did you like notice the other players build up their confidence as the second half of the season started?
Yeah, I definitely saw, when you have confidence, you take the puck to the net more. You try those shots that you might not shoot because you're scared that probably won't go in. So I saw that for sure in all of our first years. And I think that helped us build together as a team as well, because you have more trust in yourself. You have more trust in your teammates as well. So it was great to see this transformation where some of the players in the beginning of the year compared to the end, you're like, I never knew they had this shot and they pulled it out of nowhere. So just trying to encourage them, but seeing it was just great to see as an upper year student.
Now, how would you evaluate your regular season performance heading into the playoffs? Like, what was like your thoughts on your games that you played and like what you took away from them?
I don't think we had the strongest season that we could have, and probably due to COVID, but everyone was also going through it. I think we just struggled a bit with, especially finding those wins at home. We had a really bad home record for a while. So a huge part, going back to the confidence thing, I think as a team, once we started winning and we started believing in each other, it came a long way. But we definitely had not the best season. But at the end of the day, we pulled it together when it mattered most. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And like, what was like I guess, what's the goal for next year regarding like your home games? Like, how do you try to play better at home and like try to also maintain a decent road record as well? Because I feel like for most teams, it's the opposite. They do well at home, but they struggle on the road.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I'm not sure. We have a new rink at home on campus, so I think that will be awesome to have more fans close by rather than having to drive to the rink. Hopefully that will help. Setting the tone early on in the game was something that we weren't doing, but when we were winning, we were. So being able to get that first goal, set the pace, will be huge. But I also think knowing how far we went in this season will do huge for our team next year, because they'll know how strong we really can be together. So that will be also a really great thing.
And what was your team's mindset heading into the playoffs this year after having some struggles in the regular season?
All year we kept saying to each other, PEI, PEI, because that's where our nationals were held. So that was our mindset, was just that we were making it to PEI. I don't think we ever had a doubt in ourselves. And it was really awesome to see. I don't know if to be honest with you, I didn't know if I expected us to make it all the way. I wanted us to, and I really thought we could, but it's a huge accomplishment for us when we haven't even won a playoff game in 10 years. So I think that was um, once we started believing in each other and that yeah, it went a long way, and that was kind of our mindset, was that we were making it to PEI and no one was going to stop us.
Yeah, in round two of the OUA playoffs, so you beat Guelph 2-1. Talk about that game, especially because I feel like Guelph has always given your team some struggles in the past, and talk about what it meant to beat that team, but also to get, like you said, your first playoff win in 10 years for the program.
Oh, it felt incredible. And we went in with that mindset and we just were not going to let up. We've had so many encounters with Guelph in the playoffs and it's never gone our way. So honestly, the upper year players, myself and the rest of the fourth years, we all had this mindset. We really just didn't want to lose to Guelph more than anything. And we wanted to do it no matter what. So to be able to go through, we knew we had beat Guelph before in the regular season. We knew what we needed to do, and we trained so hard to get there. It was just incredible. I can't even describe that feeling of finally, once we broke that barrier, there were no more for us to break at that point. We knew that we could do it after that game. It would be the most challenging one, most likely.
And you then beat Western University the next game. So talk about that game and what challenges does Western University bring, and what's it like playing them?
Yeah, they're a great team, really fast, physical, and they have good shots when we let them. So we knew that we had to shut them down before they would get those shots and opportunities. And that's exactly what we did. I think we carried the momentum from the game before. It was a really quick turnaround, and we just did exactly what we had to do. And doing it in front of a home crowd, knowing that winning that game meant we were going to nationals, was just, honestly, I think that was one of the best feelings this year, but definitely behind going to nationals and winning OUA.
Yeah, you obviously won the OUA, beating Nipissing University. Talk about the emotions you felt after winning the McCaw Cup and what it meant to yourself and for your team, just because I feel like you guys went through so much because of the pandemic and the regular season that your team had. So what emotions were you feeling after kind of winning that championship and going through all the challenges you dealt with? It must have been very rewarding.
Oh, it for sure was. There were tons of tears on the ice. It felt just honestly surreal. We had a game moved. The game was moved later, which meant that we had to drive home and there. So it was a 5-hour bus journey. There was just so much buildup, is what I'm trying to get at, to make it to this game. And we had a lot of people laughing at us saying that, oh, how did Brock make the finals, kind of thing. We were really the underdogs going in. I don't think anyone really believed that we would do anything with it, but just to prove everyone wrong and really put our name out there, it was incredible, because so many people, even when I committed to Brock, so many people said, why are you going to Brock? And to know that the future Badgers are looking at us and are so proud and might inspire more people to come to Brock was just such an incredible feeling. I don't know if I have words to describe it.
Yeah. Uh, I guess, is that the best Instagram photo you've taken? Because I thought it was awesome with the trophy and all that stuff.
Oh, it was amazing. I think that will go down probably as the best Instagram picture, or best picture in general I've ever taken. We all look so sweaty and everything in the photos, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It was just hard work and resilience.
Yeah, always holding up a trophy, I feel like, is always like the best one you can have, just because like it's not just you that earned it, you like earned it with your teammates as well. And there's a lot of hard work that gets to put into it. So I think it's like, I feel like that's usually my favorite ones to see on people's profiles. So at least in my opinion. So I don't really care about like the sweaty or any of that stuff. It doesn't really bother me. So
Yeah, exactly. It's just the best.
now, obviously, after you won the McCaw Cup, you played in the youth sports tournament. Obviously, those games didn't go your team's way, but what did you take away from that experience? And what's it like in Prince Edward Island? I'm American, so I don't know what that is. So can you please explain it to me?
Yeah, so obviously the games didn't go our way, but just the experience of being treated like a professional team and being at one of the highest level that we could be at, it was just amazing. I've never really experienced that, and I think a lot of girls as well had never experienced that, which was really cool. PEI, very eastern Canada. It was a long journey to get there. It was about 12 hours total because we bused to the airport, flew, then we flew into Halifax, so we had to have a 4-hour bus. So it was a long and tiring experience, but nonetheless, we had a day off. So we were able to travel around and being able to explore the island. You could tell it's just so beautiful, even though it was in kind of the ugliest season. A lot of people said, oh, why are you here now? That sucks. But I can only imagine how beautiful it would be in the summer. And I plan on going back for sure. But taking out of the tournament, I guess, just knowing that we made it there, it wasn't our best play, but I also do have a lot of respect for the other teams because they were so talented. So yeah, taking out that we made it there, and I hope they make it there next year and win the whole thing.
Yeah, and personally for yourself, you had another really impressive season. So, what was the biggest improvement you made to your game this year?
Yeah, I think using speed to my advantage, that was a big thing that I hadn't done in the past as a defense. And I don't plan on going back there now. I wish I had hopefully I do have another season. My grad plans are kind of in the air right now. But if I do, I plan on using that even more to my advantage because I think there's so much more that I can do that I didn't do yet. So yeah.
Yeah, kind of answer my next question, but I know at least in the NCAA here in the U.S., every player that was in the COVID year has an extra year. I was just curious if Canada was doing the same thing.
Yes, they are. So I have 2 extra years of eligibility left if I choose to use them.
So you're not sure yet, though, for next season, though?
Yeah, so right now I'm kind of waiting. I applied to some medical schools, waiting to hear back from them after interviews. And that day is May 10th, so I find out there. But if those 2 schools don't work out, then I could be coming back to Brock for a master's. That would be my next plan. So I'm driving my coaches crazy that they don't know about me either. But I just want the best for everything, and I really do love hockey. I hope to keep
Hmm.
pursuing it.
Is it like if you get accepted to those medical schools? I'm curious. Are you going to still play with like another team in your league, or you're just not going to play hockey? You only want to do it with Brock.
Well, I honestly am not entirely sure yet, but one of the schools does have a hockey team. So I have been thinking about it, in contact a little bit, but it's still all up in the air. I'm not 100% sure, which sucks. It's hard to go through life not knowing what's going on, but just kind of controlling what I can, as we said before.
Kind of what we learned, I guess, in the beginning of the interview.
Exactly.
But even so, besides medical school, like, what are your summer plans? Anything interesting? Hockey related, non-hockey related? I'm curious.
Well, somewhat hockey related, not really, but for in the summer I work at a golf course close to me, and it's a private one, so it's very highly ranked in Canada. So we do get some hockey players coming in, so we can make that link. Some NHL guys come in. I don't want to name names, but it's really cool to be able to see that. And then again, I'll probably be practicing somewhere throughout that. That's not really set in stone yet, though.
Do you get to play in the golf course at all?
Oh yeah, we do. It's really cool. We get to when we want. So that's fun.
Are you a good golfer?
Oh no, not at all. A lot of the members are, but I am not. I would not consider myself a very good golfer.
I feel like I haven't played in a while, so I probably suck now. But like I feel like if I get my like short game like set, I could be a decent, semi decent golfer.
Yeah,
I've
no,
always thought about like what if I just stopped everything I'm doing in my life and just focused on golf and try to become like on the PGA tour. I feel like that'll be a fun gig to get.
100%. I don't think I'd ever get there, but I'd support you if you got there.
Awesome. Do you watch golf by any chance, like, or only play or work there?
I only play, but I know there's a big tournament going on right now.
Masters this week. It's the
Yeah,
first
I know.
one.
I'm not a big golf fan though, so I don't follow it, but I'll congratulate whoever wins it. Good for them.
Awesome. Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know how many Canadians are playing, at least for the Masters. So for
Yeah.
you, hopefully a Canadian wins. If not, then hopefully American wins, I guess. I don't know. Last year, a guy
Tiger Woods
from Japan
fan?
won, so-
Sorry?
last year a guy from Japan won, so it could be anyone's.
For sure. I know it's awesome to see kind of those underdogs. It's sometimes nice.
Yeah. Well, I guess for now in the segment, I like to call the non-hockey segment, where I ask you some non-hockey questions just to get to know you a little bit more off the ice. Now, this non-hockey segment's a little bit different from the last time we had you on because it's more about like just random questions I found on the internet that I feel like would tailor towards you. So
Okay,
hopefully, this is fun, and I think we should get some interesting answers out of these ones. So,
sounds
first
good.
one is, what is your favorite thing about Canada?
I love how beautiful Canada is. It's really got such an incredible landscape from west to east coast. I can't say I've explored it all yet, but I really do love how outdoorsy you can be when you're in Canada.
I only went to Canada one time when I was 12 years old, and I had a great time. So I'd say Toronto. I like that city a lot. It's one of the best vacations I've ever went on. So that would be
Oh,
my favorite thing about Canada. But it's been like 10 years since I've been there. So
right.
I'm assuming a lot has changed since I was there last time.
For sure, yeah.
Now, is there anything that people from the US do that you guys find in Canada find odd, I guess?
I if it's hockey related, I would say locker rooms. We don't call them locker rooms here. So I do find that kind of weird because we just call them change rooms, but that's just a very minor thing, I guess.
Oh, I never call it a change. I've never heard of the term changing room at all. So that's definitely weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me as an American, I find the bagged milk thing very odd. I like the way we do it with like just like the gallons of it.
Yeah.
Remember seeing that when I was there when I was like I said 12 years old, and I thought it was the strangest thing ever. So
For
um,
sure.
that's definitely probably I definitely don't understand why you guys do that. I think it would just be easier to put in a gallon, but
I don't have an explanation for that either. I do think it's a little weird also.
now what is your guilty pleasure song?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot. I would say anything Vance Joy I love, but also some country songs in there are really good too. I think our pre-game song though, my roommates and I, Solo Dance by I'm not sure who, but it's a great song and we always listen to that pre-game in the car ride.
I think for me, my like guess guilty pleasure song is "Love Story" by Taylor Swift. I think the song is very good, and I definitely like jamming out to it by myself when no one's watching. So that's always
Yeah.
fun. Now, next question is: if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself and why?
Oh, I'm a big fan of Emma Chamberlain. I don't know if she's an actress. I don't think she does acting, but I would love for her to be me because I just think she's also quite chaotic like I am. And she's really funny. So I really like her. I would want her to play me.
Now, what is your most embarrassing hockey moment?
Oh, I don't know. I think one time I went on the ice with my skate guards on without realizing it and I fell. And that was probably the most embarrassing moment because I wasn't that young.
How when did it happen in college or juniors?
I think it was junior. I was like a mess. I showed up late or something. Something was
Yeah,
going on. And I was just in such a rush. I ran on and I just ate it. And it was quite embarrassing. I don't think I lived that down for the rest of the season.
yeah. Mine's probably like someone left the bench door open, and we were doing like backward skating drills like on the neutral zone, and I fell inside. That was pretty tough, but luckily
Oh,
there's no like cameras of it.
that's good. At least there's no video. There's no evidence.
Yeah, so I could just laugh about it with myself and no one else would know about it. So that's at least for me, I'm a little lucky on that aspect of things.
There you go.
Now, what is the most interesting thing you've seen or read this week?
Oh, that I'm not sure about. I think I read I sorry, I'm blanking. I'm not sure to be honest with you. I think what's going on in the world is a little crazy, so that's quite interesting and crazy. But yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry. I'd
I
like to
think
hear yours though.
mine was the World Cup like draw for the group stage. I don't know if you watch soccer by any chance, but I was just interested because one, at least for your perspective, this is Canada's first time in the World Cup in
Yeah.
36 years, so I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. But I was
Hmm.
also interested to see where the U.S. would end up, and I'm excited to play England just because there are a lot of funny jokes going around between U.S. and England just because of the whole Revolutionary War thing. So
Oh,
it's going to
that'll
be a
be
fun
fun.
group. I'm looking forward to the tournament, but it's also going to be interesting because it's going to be played in November and December, and normally the World Cup's played in the summertime. So I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I guess we'll have to adapt for 1 year. But it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think the World Cup's probably one of my favorite non-hockey events to watch.
Yeah, it'll be really good. I like how the World Cup brings people together that might not have been together before or known. I know that there's a huge Italian population in my area. So seeing them all get so happy and celebrating together was honestly nice, even though it hurt because I'm part British.
Yeah.
Or Euro Cup, that was for. Sorry.
Yeah. Obviously, Italy's not going to be in the World Cup again. Is that tough for your neighborhood?
Probably yes, but I have no remorse because they beat out England in the Euro finals, so they can sit this one out.
Well, luckily you have. I think Canada's, and obviously with Canada being in, that's more like you're from there, so that makes a little more sense for you to root for,
For
even if
sure.
Italy was there anyway.
Yes, 100%.
So no, and it's going to be really fun as well because in 2026 the World Cup's going to be in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. So I
Yes,
would definitely try to catch a game at some point. I feel like that's like a once in a lifetime thing that I can't pass up.
100%.
Now, what is your biggest fear?
Oh, I think I would say I'm really not sure. Oh, you know what? I don't like spiders. I really don't enjoy spiders, and I get them in here sometimes, but I don't like spiders very much.
Yeah, for me, it's probably like either elevators or roller coasters. I'm not a fan of like things like with elevators. I don't want to get like trapped inside one, so that's
That's
why I always take the stairs. And then for
yes,
roller coasters, like I feel like they're not like it's hard. I just don't want to like fall off. They don't seem like that secure, so that's why I don't
yeah,
do it.
that's totally fair.
Now, last, I guess, two more non-hockey questions. First one is, what is something you did as a kid that you still do today? For me, I drank chocolate milk as a kid, and I still do that today. So, what about you?
Oh, I think I love shooting pucks outside. I'll still do that sometimes, so that's something I do.
Now, final non-hockey question: what is your least favorite holiday, and what's your favorite holiday?
Least favorite holiday is probably Halloween just because it stresses me out trying to find outfits and everything like that. I just don't like to do that. Favorite holiday, probably Christmas just because of how pretty it is and how happy everyone is around that time. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I'll say two different answers for you than yourself. One for I think Halloween is overrated because for me, like I don't like if you're not a kid and you don't like dressing up, there's really no point in celebrating Halloween. So
Yes,
I've never been like a big fan of it. I feel like people just use it as an excuse to like party, which is fine, but like just party like normal. You don't need to like come up with a theme, I guess. So that's
100%.
like my one thing, like beef with Halloween. But least favorite is probably Valentine's Day, just because I feel like people do I think overhype it too much where like you should not just spend like one day focusing like on your significant other. You should do that every day. And
Yes,
like I don't mind if you post like something like on social media, but some people like post like 18,000 things about it. It's like it's a little too much for me.
100%.
So
Yeah.
my favorite holiday is 4th of July, just because it's a lot of fun in the summertime with the fireworks and all that stuff, and makes me feel proud to be American. So I'm assuming it's the same thing for Canada Days for all the Canadian
Yes.
people listening. But
100%. Exact
I
same.
do enjoy the 4th of July a lot. It's a lot of fun.
I'm gonna have to go to America sometime for the 4th of July.
Oh, do Canada the first and then go to America on the fourth. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun. So it's
that'd be
just super cool. I don't know why I always like the 4th of July. I think it's a really fun holiday. Obviously
that's,
Christmas is like the best probably, but like I think 4th of July gets like no one talks about it enough. I really think it's an awesome holiday.
that's good to know.
Now back to some hockey questions now. First one is, what are your thoughts on the podcast since we last had you on?
I think you've had some awesome things, especially branching out from beyond the podcast, like having those. I love the outfit pictures. I think those are awesome because I'm big on fashion. So I like seeing what everyone wears to games. That's great. But also just having those game day features and things like that. It's been great. I really like the growth that you've had for your podcast.
Well, I appreciate that. With Rebecca, why didn't you send us anything? We would love to have feature you on. I didn't see Brock post
I
anything.
know. I'm sorry. I sometimes post game day fits too. So maybe next year, if I'm still around, I'll send you some for sure.
Yeah, because like I've heard from other people that you have some fantastic outfits, and I do think you have the
Thank
best
you.
style on the team. So like we need to show that
Oh,
off.
I know I might have to. Thank you.
I think what I heard you had a I heard you have a great hat game. Is that true by any chance?
That is great, and my hat is right there. Everyone borrows this hat, so it's my famous. I'll bring it. You know what? I'll bring it over so we can look at it. But it's people call. I might even call it the Pasternak hat. I have a high ponytail, so it's. But yeah, this is the famous hat.
That's awesome. I think hat makes the outfit stick out more. That's why I really like it. So I like it when both men's and women's hockey players put one on because I think it really completes the thing the most. I'm just gonna say like if you wear a hat, like it kind of makes the outfit look better. That's at least for me, like
I
how I
agree.
at least when I look at it. So I'll say this, even though like obviously we didn't see any of your game day fits this past year. you have the best hat game in college hockey, so I'll give you that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's something that I worked hard to achieve.
Yeah, so when you think about all your hockey accomplishments, you're like, yeah, I won this, I won that, but college hockey talk host Matt Cusick said I had the best hat game, so that's probably the thing I think about the most. So,
That's the biggest hockey accomplishment I've ever had right there.
no, we'll clip that. We'll clip that. We'll definitely
Yes.
use that. So, but no, is there any guests that we should have on the future? I'm curious to ask you because you're the only like Canadian like women's hockey player that we've had on. So I was curious if there's any of your teammates or like any players you play against that would be cool to talk to.
Oh yeah, honestly, I could recommend anyone. Everyone on my team's awesome. Shout out to Michaela Christensen. She's really smart, like hockey wise. So I think she'd have a lot to say. She's one of my roommates, so I think she'd be down for a podcast episode if you asked.
Awesome, awesome. We'll definitely reach out and see what happens. But
Sounds good.
what are some things you, I guess, took away from your interview when we last had you on? I thought it went very well. I think the thing that I think you did a great job is like you're like very professional and like explain things very well, which I appreciate as an interviewee.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I probably prepared for that one a bit more, which I apologize. I'm in the middle of exams, so I didn't have as much time to
It's
prepare for this.
that's more important. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think taking away from that, I was really nervous before that one, but for this one I was a lot less because at the end of the day it's more of a conversation. I actually got chosen for an interview while I was at nationals, a mid-game one, and I was so nervous for it, but it went really well. So just having that confidence to talk, I've had a lot of interview prep too recently, so it's been really cool to apply those skills.
Yeah, I feel like would you say that I prepared you for that mid game interview? I don't want to
I
take too
think
much credit
I
for
think
that, but
college hockey prepared me for the interview.
that's
College
awesome.
hockey podcast, sorry.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It means a lot to myself, but I feel like you've done a good job. And yeah, no, I don't be nervous when you talk to me. I don't think I try not to be too intimidating. So hopefully I'm not that much.
No, and I think your skills have come a long way too since the last time. So good job on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the kind words. Well, one thing we do with all of the guests after every interview is we have them give shout outs. But since you already did shout outs last time, is there someone that you might have forgotten about that you want to give a shout out to? But if not, you could talk about anything for the next like 30 seconds, a minute. Like the floor is all yours.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'll shout out my other two roommates because I already shouted out Mish. So shout out to Emma Irwin and Amelia Lackey. They're also great and awesome teammates. I don't even know. All my teammates are so amazing this year. They're really my best friends. I could talk forever about how they're the best people I know. So shout out to them for just making my whole university experience an awesome one because it wouldn't have been without all of them.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, for coming back on the podcast. I really appreciate it. So shout out to you for that. Shout out to your hat game as well. But thank you
Thank you.
for coming on. I really appreciate it. I wish you nothing but the best for your medical school or whatever your future endeavors are. I know you're going to do great, whatever you decide to do. And you're a great hockey player, but an even better person. I know that's going to take you a long way to success. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else you accomplish in the future, whether it's hockey or not. So thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I can go on and on saying about all the kind things about how good of a person you are. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, this has been awesome.